Any rank can do this, right? From a private who's in charge of trying to get himself up in the morning, and I'm using an extreme example, and getting to work on time. You mentioned on time, prepared, ready to do the job. That's a process, right? That's a certain thing you've got to do. But then capture those moments where you were involved in a project and you can talk about the fact that something went wrong, but you made it right. And you can tell that story, but your resume has to show that. And that's where you need to have quantitative numbers, metrics inside your resume that say, I went from X to Y. I like how you said that. So that then for the hiring managers, look for those key points on a veteran's resume, not just a veteran's, but any resume, right? That they can make that shift, they can make that change from X to Y and talk about that process and looking for those characteristics. Does that make sense?
That's exactly what we're looking for. If I can get my arms around a number of source stories to where I think this person can replicate those same level of success within an organization, and with the right kind of coaching and mentoring and experience, they will become a self-managed leader to help influence others in the steward of their care. That's what we want in the organization. You may not get that on day one. That's fine, because we are making our decisions now to plant the seeds for a long-term growth trajectory.
So one question I was what stereotypes did you have about the military before you started working with the military?
Um, the only negative one was, what you hear a lot about is, PTSD. Am I going to have to deal with some quirky attitude or something like that? I can't tell you if that exists or not. I've been blessed where I did not experience that myself. The positive things where I know that they're going to be thinking systemically because of how the military operates. I know that they will have been trained in the mentality of, we are going to take that hill, no matter what it takes to succeed. Right. We are going to take that hill. There's the bottom line that I put on all the job descriptions when I'm posting a position out there is the requirement of willing to do whatever it takes to ensure the company's success. We get that from folks that are come from the military, and there's a lot of times, in our smaller organization where we need that. It is not abnormal for me and Bill Holmes and others to have to go to the warehouse at peak periods and lift up a bunch of boxes, unloading a truck and building up pallets. It is not abnormal to do that because we will have spikes that we have not invested in all the manpower to do all that for us. And there's no resistance. There's no whining. There's no complaining. It's like, hey guys, we're going to have to show up. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get in there and sweat some. And it's just like, we're all doing it together. So you're not always going to find that in corporate America, but having that can-do spirit with the folks that we've been able to get from the military is critical in instrumenting our success, and the rest of the organization sees it. So when we say, hey, we need help in doing something, that mentality of, I'm going to be willing to do whatever it takes to help the company succeed in a different department, in a different function, that's like gold to us. That's the camaraderie that we want to have in the organization, especially during tough times. And we've had some of those.
And I would offer that's a two-way street, right? So when you ask for that, there's also an ask from the veteran is that loyalty is there both ways. That they will not only work for you the way you need whenever you need it, but also when they need that support. You mentioned PTSD or something like that. That moment of thought, that moment of patience to teach, to learn, to go both ways. That there needs to be a two-way street in that loyalty. Because today there's lots of jobs out there, but not many employees. Right? You can look at the job want ads all kind of day, but can you find the right people to fill those jobs? So companies are selling themselves to employees just as much as employees are selling themselves to companies to find that perfect opportunity there. And listening to your stories, you've got a strong story for your company and why somebody would want to work for you, because there's some good things here, a culture that is nonstop, that is unstoppable, will get anything done to meet the needs of the client, the customer that you're working for. Does that make
That's
sense?
the vision. Yeah, that's the goal. That's what we were trying to build, and it takes time. It takes years, to get it to that point.
Right.
Luckily, we've kind of established a lot of good momentum and success in that. Like literally 10 minutes before this call, we get a simple Teams message from the operations manager, which is the retired Navy vet, and he says, "Hey, this transport has been successfully received." Okay, if you were to back up 5 months ago, um, it would have been like an all hands on deck type thing. Like, I need to be there, Holmes needs to be there. There's a lot of boots on the ground to help unload probably 1,200 20-pound boxes from a container that are all floor loaded and build up the pallets. I did not even know today that truck was arriving today. There was no announcement. There was no request for help. Now, we've streamlined and improved a lot on what we're doing. It
Right.
was just, hey, it's all done now. We ran into one little problem and we detected it and we fixed it, but it's all done. And that's like gold to a leader in the organization, because you don't have to manage those folks. They're very self-managed. Now the conversation is more about evolution. Again, it's don't stray too far on the left and the right, but it's like, here's what I want you to be doing for your next step in evolution within the company. And how are you positioning your troops to be able to step up through the organization as well?